I did not grow up around here. I actually grew up in just south of Dover, Delaware. If you're familiar with Delaware, it's probably because you went to the beach. That's not where I grew up, but we did some spooky things. There were spooky things going on in Dover, Delaware, and one of those things was my entire family. Still, but my dad is actually he was born on Mischief Night. So all growing up, even before like the kids were a part of the picture, my parents celebrated Halloween. And I don't know if you celebrate Halloween the way that they do, but they went pretty hard. So my dad was like famed for his costumes. I think I heard something similar. Guy's name was Leo. My name's Leah. Maybe our dad was like kind of similar in this regard, spirit friends. But his costumes were like hardcore, well thought out. And if you didn't understand them, like go. But so he was like, one year he was Igor from Young Frankenstein. One year he was a fly with the buggy eyes and like the hunchback. I think it was just a spin off the Igor costume. But he was half man, half woman one year, with the half-shaved beard, and he had a blast with this. And so this continued as I was a kid, and maybe it became more fun when, like, the young kids were running around and stuff like that, because we had an annual Halloween party for, like, 5 or 6 consecutive years. And it was when I was in, like, elementary school, so it was, like, the thing. And I grew up in a pretty rural area, so it was definitely the thing. And one year, it was different every year. So one year it was like a haunted maze in the backyard, and they had all these straw bales, and they would set up the maze, and like my dad's and my mom's close friends, their kids were like a little older than us. They were like young teens or whatever, so they were like, yeah, I'll put on these costumes and like spook all the kids in the neighborhood who'd come through, and they would always have it all lit up, and it was just a whole thing. And it was like the first experience I had outside of like watching movies of like this theatrical kind of performance and setting the stage for the spook. So it was always an enjoyable thing. And of course, like, my family had a good time too. Like I remember my uncle Bob one year, put a bunch of Alka-Seltzer in a soda and like twisted the top real tight and put it in the front yard, and it's like doing this, and he's like, just duck. It's fine. You're in rural Delaware. No one really cares about you, and it's all for fun. But so one year it's the spooky haunted maze in the backyard. The next year it's the spooky garage, and you have to like walk through it, and you get spooked. You see creepy stuff like here, stick your hand in this, and you're like, oh, what is that? It feels like eyeballs, but it's really just grapes and like oil or something. And they're like, ha ha ha. Yeah, I don't know, but anyway. So as I'm getting older, I'm like used to this. Every year we have Halloween parties, and it's my dad's birthday, and it's a thing. So I'm getting older. I'm starting to, make friends in elementary school and stuff, and also make, friends that are actually like, bullies. And if you were like me, you were a little ostracized as a kid, and, I'm not complaining, but so I had made this friend who wasn't actually a friend, and I'm starting to learn that, you know what I mean? And I'm coming to the age where I'm like, okay, you're actually kind of harming me. But but every year we have Halloween. Halloween's coming around, and like you're kind of like, I think you're a friend, so like come over to my family's house. Let's celebrate this Halloween party. And this friend, she was like, okay, this has got to be something cool. It's the thing to do. So Halloween day, it's awesome. Or I guess it's the day before. I'm like helping my dad plan everything. We're doing fancy foods. We're setting up. My mom's getting makeup ready. Like outfits are all situated, and I'm getting stoked. And day of Halloween, I'm all set. I got my costume on. My dad's got his paint on, and the party begins. And it's dark. What we're doing this year is a haunted trailer. So it was like some trailer that my dad's friend had to like park his, travel his cars in, because he had fancy muscle cars and stuff. And so they set it up. I'm like helping them decorate and stuff. And this year they decided to do like a gurney. And on this gurney is this zombie character. And there's other spooky stuff in the trailer, but their trick was like this zombie character was never going to move. All the times you went through, they're like, okay, it's just a setup until like the end of the night, and then they were gonna, scare a bunch of people. And so I'm walking through with my friend at the end of the night, and the trailer, you walk in the front, and it's like a 25-foot trailer or so, and you walk through, and then you walk out the back, which is the drop back gate, and you exit. So I go in with my friend, and she'd been through a couple other times, and we're like, no big deal. That's spooky, that's creepy, that's whatever. And we get to the point where, this zombie guy's jumping up, and he goes for it. And she didn't realize this was going to happen, and she books it. And she runs out of the back of this trailer. And when the gate goes down, there were 2 wires holding, this gate, so you could just crank it back up, and she clotheslines herself and does a backflop. She does a backflop onto the back of this trailer, and my parents were like, oh, and I'm like, ha-ha, and she was fine, but that was a treat.